Hey guys, I was in the marketplace just now and I overheard somebody talking about the day of Pentecost in the upper room. Were you guys there? Could you tell me about it?
We were just hanging around the house. There was about 120 of us. The house was our escape, you know? It was where we went to get away from things. All the crazy and frightening things that have been happening to us the last days. We had the door shut and the windows covered. We were holed up in there waiting, I suppose, for something to happen. Waiting for someone to tell us what to do next.
We were glad to be back together, to be each other's company. Time to regroup.
Peter had assumed the role of leader, of course. We could hardly stop him from doing that. And we didn't really want to, but Peter had his shortcomings. He was awfully emotional and irrational. We never knew what he was going to do next. And when he did do something, it was often so impulsive that we wondered if it was always the best thing.
We never questioned Peter's place as our leader. After all, Jesus has called him rock. He play on his name Petros, which meant rock. So Jesus knew he could be trusted. But still, you know, Peter was so human. Jesus had been more than that. We began questioning the idea of human leadership. Jesus had given us wisdom such as humans seldom had, and confidence and courage. Now Jesus wasn't there anymore, just Peter. The one thing we had counted on so constantly for the 3 years he was with us wasn't there. And Peter, even for all his gifts and even all his bluster, didn't know what to do with us. He was in a kind of funk, like he was waiting for inspiration, but didn't know where to find it.
Everything Jesus had done was so public, so bold, so in touch with the everyday lives of the people. He was out in the fields preaching. He was healing people in the marketplace, even on the Sabbath. He was debating with Pharisees, having heated arguments over the laws of God. He was out there, man, talking to women in public, hugging the unclean in public, calling people to find God in public, and not just in sanctuaries.
So what were we doing? Hanging out in private, afraid of the public, of betrayal, of the Pharisees, of the Romans, even of our own shadows. I think even Peter was afraid. We knew the soldiers were looking for us, asking around, probably paying informers to search us out. What kind of disciples were we? Even Peter didn't know how to get us out the door and into the streets to talk about God. Don't get us wrong. We had faith, but we needed courage. Courage to come out of that room and out of ourselves. Courage to let that profound feeling of God's love make its way out of our hearts and through our lips. As we sat around and worshiped, we ate, prayed, talked, and listened. From time to time, the conversation drifted to what Jesus had said to us the night before he was arrested.
That evening, as we sat in the upper room, Jesus prayed to God that we would be united, that he would bless us and keep us together. And to us, he made a promise. The promise was that he would never leave us alone. Orphaned was the word he used. Now, at the time, we didn't know what to make of all that. We didn't know what he knew about his arrest and death. So to us, those words didn't mean much. But now, we went over them again and again. And the thing that he said, which we wondered about the most, was this promise. If you love me, you'll keep my commandments. And I will ask the Father, and he will give you another advocate to be with you forever. This is the Holy Spirit.
So we ate, talked some more, and wondered what it was Jesus really meant by that. How could he unite us now that he was gone? How could he tell us what to do, even through Peter?
How could he give us the courage to get out of that room and share the love of God?
And then it happened. Maybe you're better for words. Anyway, even years later, you can hardly find words to describe it. It was like a fireball, really. Like a wind that blew among us and even through us. Some of us started to dance, others to sing. We prayed in a way we had never prayed before. We danced out all the frustration and confusion. We danced out the hope, the tiny, fragile hope we still had in spite of everything.
Even Peter got out of his funk. Big, flat-footed Peter danced an awkward, joyful kind of a dance and sang loudly off-key. And then the wind picked up and blew hard through the room. And we opened the door and took the shades off the window. Something was happening. Something crackling with energy. Something had taken hold of our spirits and was moving them, motivating them. Faces appeared in the door and the windows, and the curious neighbors looked in and they saw the dancing and the singing and the ecstatic laughter and the feeble attempts to explain what was happening. There were tears, there was laughter, and then the dancing got faster and the singing got louder until everyone collapsed in an exhausted, happy heap.
You're drunk, sneered one of the neighbors. Oh no, not drunk, laughed Peter. Not drunk at all. At least, not drunk on wine. Sit down, folks. I'll tell you what's going on. Do you remember the prophet Joel? The neighbors nodded. Joel prophesied that the Spirit of God would be poured out on all people. Your sons and your daughters shall prophesy. That's what you just saw. Jesus of Nazareth. Do you remember him? He was killed. He was crucified. But he promised he would send the Spirit again in a new way. Well, this is it, folks. This is it. From that moment on, we lost our fear. The promise had been fulfilled. We went out into the streets. We went home.
We tried so many times to describe what happened that day. Some say they saw tongues of flame dancing over our heads. Others remembered speaking in strange tongues which a few seemed to understand.
Time to time, we even get into arguing about what happened that day. People have been debating, discussing, celebrating, and scratching their heads over the ways of God and the power of the Spirit ever since. You probably already know that. Have you encountered the Spirit in your life? If so, you know words fail to describe the experience.
It doesn't matter how the Spirit works or who he comes to. We know that the Spirit comes to us and fills us with love, and excitement, and passion. That's the part that's important. The Holy Spirit can come in 100 different ways to many different people. It doesn't matter how. What matters is that we're open to the Spirit and we respond with our lives.